A record third T20 World Cup title sealed in Ahmedabad, and they didn't just win it, they obliterated New Zealand by 96 runs. Dominant, absolutely, but then we've also got questions. Simply put, India were unstoppable, and many experts are saying exactly that, but here's where the debate begins. India had minimal travel compared to the other teams. India's only cross-border trip was the Pakistan game in Colombo. Everyone else was basically doing the India-Sri Lanka shuttle. Flat pitches, aka batting-friendly pitches, ever since that loss to South Africa. Anti-due measures to reduce the traditional toss bias in that must-win game versus Zimbabwe at Chepok. And then there's the bigger structural debate, how the groups and schedule were or always set up in a way that India's semi-final appearance is always a guarantee. Critics argue that ICC tournaments should ideally maintain completely neutral conditions, not environments that seem to favor the host. Now, to be fair, hosting teams having certain logistical advantages isn't new in world tournaments, but that's when it's a tournament with a single host. The others also don't have to travel much, like across countries. But this 2026 edition is an instance of co-hosting, which also seems to be the way forward. With almost 20 teams qualifying for world events, more venues are a demand to hold matches as part of the tournament in the designated time frame. And it has been that way even in the 2024 edition, weirdly, because USA and West Indies were co-hosting it, but India had a base where they played all their group games in the US, while the others kept shuttling between the West Indies and the USA with very little turnaround time. So when it's an ICC global tournament, fans expect the perception of neutrality to be as strong as possible. At the same time, though, you still have to win games. Also worth pointing out, New Zealand never really put up the fight England did earlier in the tournament, so blaming conditions alone doesn't really explain the gap we saw in this final. So this is the debate. Was this India at their absolute peak, simply too good for everyone else, or did the tournament setup make the climb a little smoother than usual? Some are calling this one of the most dominant World Cup runs ever. Others are saying ICC tournaments should be far more neutral than this. Two very different opinions both being thrown around right now. Which side are you leaning toward?